Welcome back to Fandom Empire, the recently rebranded Fandom Empire. We'll have more on that next Tuesday evening, but tonight we're going to sit back and watch a couple of classics from 1978 and 1981. John Carpenter's Halloween, followed by Rick Rosenthal's Halloween 2. Joining me tonight, first up, he is the man behind the Take One podcast. He's in for both movies. He's Mr. Mike Bish. What's going on, buddy?
Not a whole lot, man. Glad to be here. It's been a long day. I'm in town, in the hotel, in bed, just hanging out. So if I sound weird or don't sound good, it's because this Wi-Fi sucks. But I'm here and I'm ready to roll.
You sound good. You look great. I'm jealous. Also joining us tonight, he is one of the co-hosts of the returning Fandom Empire Live. It's Kieran. What's going on, man?
Not too much. Pretty good day so far. A regular day. A bunch of children beat me up, and I had a smile on my face, and it was fun anyways. Whatever.
No, Daddy, no.
That's my job. Yeah, I get beaten up by children all day.
Also joining us, he is the man behind Backtrack Cinema, sponsor here at the channel, mod here at the channel, Mr. Jason Knight. What's going on, buddy?
I'm good, man. Thank you for having me on. As always, it's good to be back on Fandom Empire and excited for the double watch party, man.
Also joining us, mod at the channel. He's going to be a guest host on Fandom Empire Live at times, sponsor at the channel, Mr. Matt Whitfield. What's going on, dude?
How you doing tonight, sir?
I heard you scared John Carpenter away from a convention.
No, that was Mike.
That's impressive.
That was Mike. That wasn't me.
Fucking asshole.
KJ says Tommy is like the Spike Dudley of Fandom Empire. Tommy and I just dropped our first episode of Supernatural Revisited after years of talking about it. It's live on the channel now. We review the pilot. Go check that out. That's where you'll be able to find him most of the time, but he will pop in on the occasional Fandom Empire Live or watch long. We are going to get things started here. I don't want to give you a timestamp of where we're starting because I don't think it'll be accurate depending on people's versions. So we are frozen basically right here. As soon as John Carpenter's Halloween comes up, we paused it and we will play and get into it. And we don't really want to waste any time. During this, I'll bring up a couple of facts and points from the Halloween movies that will get spliced out and put up as their own videos. But let's dive into it. I think, I could be wrong on this, this is the biggest watch party we've ever done in the history of the channel, names, whatever. I think the most we've ever had for one is 4. This is 5. Naturally, it's John Carpenter's classic. It's not my favorite, the franchise, but I'd say it's probably 90% of the fan base's favorite. So, without further ado, let's get into it. We'll do a 3, 2, 1, go countdown, and we'll go on go. 3, 2, 1, go. There's obviously like a bunch of different iterations of this theme now. There's covers, but even like sticking with the official stuff that's in the movies, it changes a lot over time. I still think my favorite is the original theme here that they did because it's just so simplistic. There's not a ton to it. There's not, a bunch of different instruments playing in the background. It's creepy. I remember the first time I heard it, it got me. What's your guys' thoughts on that?
Yeah, it's my favorite too. The original music I think works the best. I know a lot of people would disagree with me on that, but just that lone piano going. In fact, my favorite theme of this whole thing is the dun 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 dun. I think that's probably my favorite part of the score for me. And I even have a little vinyl 48, I think it is. Little 48 they were selling there a couple, I can't remember when I bought it a couple years ago, but yeah, for me it's this too.
This was my attempt at carving the Halloween pumpkin at a family get together. I'm not the most artistic guy, but I didn't think it turned out terrible.
That's not bad. That's not bad. I think that this is the best version. I do like a lot of what they did with it, like recently. But it's cool. But then it's taken from the original. Now, yeah, I don't think anything is going to really surpass it. It's definitely a fantastic movie theme overall. Not iconic for horror movies, but iconic for movies, right? So.
Man, this 1963 long POV shot is it's probably one of the most iconic shots in all of horror.
It's funny too because they try to recreate it, but it's something they could do artistically back then because there's lots of things they couldn't do, and that's kind of created a sort of shot. It was something they could do back then, and then recreating it now seems hard.
Yeah, it's the Steadicam. They're wearing the Steadicam, are they not?
Yeah.
Yep.
Which debuted. It was invented for Rocky was the first movie to use the Steadicam. That's how
really? I didn't know that.
They tracked Stallone up the steps and he came around him. That was all Garrett something on Rocky. He and then it's been used ever since.
This is my first time watching the Halloween 78 4K from Scream Factory, and just the outside area, even though it's clearly nighttime, the resolution's been bumped up so much that it just looks fantastic. You can see everything, but not too clearly.
Yeah, it's gorgeous.
Yeah, sure.
Hey, you think someone's head could fit in between those little spaces in the stairway there?
I'm sure many kids have tried and gotten it stuck.
I met good old Judith Myers this weekend.
How was she?
She was great. Very nice.
Deborah Hill, picking it up.
Yep, Deborah Hill's hands.
Mm-hmm.
One of, I believe, 5 people that portray Michael Myers in this film. Joel says he can't watch. He's at work. Well, live vicariously through us then, mate.
Are you guys all watching it on 4Ks and DVDs?
I don't do 4K because my eyes won't see the great difference. I'm watching it on rented off my box. So,
Michael.
Mike, how are you watching? We know you're at a hotel tonight.
I think when I got the 4K Steelbook, or I don't know. I have several of the versions on DVD, but it came with a Movies Anywhere code for digitally, so I just I put that in so I have it digitally wherever I go.
Did you have that nice it's like primarily white steelbook with the leaves blowing in the background and Michael's face?
Yeah, I have that. That's the only that's the steelbook that I have.
Man, I love that. I don't have it, but I wish I did get it.
When we watch Halloween,
is this one of the only like uses of like a tableau in a movie? Like they just stop, like they don't freeze the picture. They just go like, okay, everybody stop in place, and we will let that breathe.
Good shot. I'm rocking the VHS.
I'm rocking a laser disc.
Who's watching the VHS?
I am.
That's amazing.
Because it's when Michael's in the dark, it's even darker. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm sure the transfer of this movie's always been quite good, though, no matter what format you're watching it on.
I saw it in the theaters last year, and it was I don't know what they played, but it was gorgeous in the theater too.
I just watched Nightmare on Elm Street, the original, Friday night. The wife and I went. Amazing.
Nice.
The original Nightmare on Elm Street, just amazing. The sound and the music. You're
Nice.
so immersed. You're so immersed into everything. It was really, really good.
That's awesome. I would love to see that in theaters. I just actually
so
Friday
good.
night I saw The Thing in theaters. That was really cool. Sean, do you like John Carpenter's The Thing?
So, believe it or not, I've never seen it. It's like one of my last films to see from him that I haven't seen. Yeah. I've seen the original Thing.
I was just curious because I know
great.
I know the original Halloween isn't your favorite. And a lot of people say that John Carpenter's best film is The Thing. So being with the original Halloween's not your favorite, I was just curious if you thought John Carpenter's best film was The Thing, but if you haven't seen it.
I put it this way. Halloween is John Carpenter's legacy, but The Thing is his masterpiece. Now,
What about
do you agree with that or don't?
What about Big Trouble in Little China? Come on.
That's a great movie too. That's top 5 Carpenter film for me.
That's like one of those answers you give when you don't want to answer. You're like, oh, well, I will make up 2 reasons why both movies are great.
We're about to see the wrench off the window. And you could see it all the way back in VHS days, too.
Yep. I like how panicked Loomis's face is. Like, you could see the anxiety on his face and everything like that. With all these guys walking around. And...
I must be slightly ahead. Window crash.
Yeah, no, that's where I am. Travis says one neat detail in one is Loomis doesn't take Marion's cigarette, but keeps eyeing it as if tempted to. He then accepts one from Hunt along with a lighter, which allows him to blow up Michael.
You know, he does that too. He takes a cigarette in Halloween 2 and never lights it.
Man, I'm really excited to get to H2 next because I haven't watched H2 since we did a watch party on the channel like 4 years ago.
Does anybody know who was playing Michael on top of that car? Who jumped off the car?
Not me. I don't know if that would have been Nick Castle or someone else. I wouldn't imagine that one was Nick Castle. Castle was basically told to just walk around in the mask.
Tommy Wallace?
I know Tommy Lee played Michael during the closet scene.
Mm-hmm.
That's like my favorite scene, pretty much. Closet scene. Other than Loomis's big speech at the Myers house.
Yeah, I got to meet Mr. Tommy Lee Wallace this weekend too.
Sweet.
Tell him to lower the price of his damn H3 book so I can buy it. I've wanted that thing for a while now, but man, $70-something is a bit rich.
It's funny. He had that on display at his table.
I'm a big H3 guy, so I'd love to have it, but it's mega expensive and no audiobook either.
See, the VHS with Laurie walking around feels more gray. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. I can believe that.
Yeah, it feels it has more atmosphere to it. A little more grayish, like cloudy. That's the way it looks anyway with my eyes right now.
Apparently, it was Nick Castle that jumped on the car.
Okay, cool. I have a follower on Instagram. I don't want to put her name out there, but she actually lives in Laurie Strode's house now, currently.
This was last year. I got to meet Castle, so I picked this one. I don't know. Everything feels a little more haunting with the VHS. Weird.
I know. I watched the original Ninja Turtles on VHS not too long ago, and that's a movie that looks way better with less light. Like if you put the light up on that and you see some things, it's like it's not as good. It's better to watch on VHS or the next equivalent you can get, the next lowest equivalent you can get.
I'm a big VHS collector, so Nightmare on Elm Street is so good on VHS because Freddy's more in the dark. Like when he says, "This is God," you don't really see the light on him at all. He's in complete darkness. Whereas the Blu-ray, there's a little bit more light that shines through.
I watched Empire Strikes Back on VHS in like 2016. God. And let me tell you, it wasn't even the special edition one either. It was dated further than that and worn down, and it was not like watching a horror movie on VHS.
Yeah. I have the original Empire on VHS. I don't think I've watched it yet, though. I watched it as a kid, obviously, but...
That's one of my favorite lines. he was doing very well. I love that.
Do you have Texas Chainsaw on VHS?
I don't. I wish I did.
It's like the holy grail. I don't know anybody that has it on VHS.
It's hard to find, and when it's expensive, that's like trying to find Black Christmas on VHS. It's extremely expensive, and it's hard to find. I got about 57 horror films on VHS.
Yeah, I have a lot too, but there's a couple that I really want. That's like holy grails in my eyes. It's hard to find.
Yeah, you can pick up a lot at the conventions. I got a few there myself, at conventions and stuff.
Yeah, the convention I went to this past weekend didn't have shit for VHS. I was disappointed.
Bummer.
I just Googled that Texas Chainsaw Massacre VHS cover. That looks cool. I don't think I'd ever seen it before.
That just had its 50th anniversary run in the theater, but I missed it. I saw Nightmare, but the week before was Texas Chainsaw.
They're about to do Saw in theater.
Man, I'm not a big Saw guy, but that original movie...
That's good. Yeah, the original.
I really enjoyed that.
Yeah, I'm not a big Saw person either as far as franchise, but that first movie was really, really good.
Kids are assholes. I can confirm.
You know, it'd be great if someone would edit the flashback intertwined with this movie. Like go to it next or whatever. It's something like that. You could somehow make it look the same and everything. Like the flashback from Kills, I mean.
I think Halloween has the best original and follow-up film in any horror franchise.
Travis says, one interesting detail when Loomis finds the tow truck, there are 2 inmate robes, implying Michael had someone with him. I don't know if I've ever noticed that.
Movie builds so well. It's such a great build-up.
Yeah, I've often said this about the first movie is like other Halloween movies are good horror movies, and like I compare them to other horror movies and compare them to other, Freddy and Jason movies, but like the original Halloween is like a good movie, like it's an iconic movie. Same thing as I said about the theme. Like this is a good movie, like for movies, whereas other Halloween movies like 2 and 4 and stuff like that, they're good. They're good scary movies. They're good horror movies or slasher movies. But like I wouldn't compare Halloween 4 to, another classic movie. I don't think it's the same. It's almost like in a different category. And there's no Freddy or Jason movies that are in that same category either. They're good or bad horror movies, but none of them are like excellent films, like in your top 100 films of all time. I don't think. Although I think a lot of horror fans would say that. I don't know.
I disagree. I think Nightmare on Elm Street's the crown jewel of horror.
Well, I don't know.
Movie,
I watched it recently. I actually watched 1 through 5 recently, and tried to get through 6, but did not.
I mean, the original movie. The original movie has got so much substance to it.
I
Like
can't give you a timestamp, Burger. Sorry, Jason. I can't give you a timestamp, but I can tell you that Lori is currently walking. Why am I blanking? The 3 girls are walking. Annie's just walking up to them right now. All of our timestamps would be different because we're all watching different versions of the movie.
They're about to get to the speed kills part.
Yeah.
Hey, jerk.
Kieran and I had this discussion off air recently, and like, I do think with, I mean, any form of entertainment and movies, you're going to get a variety of opinion, which is why I love talking about them and, you know, getting everybody's opinion on it, because usually they're not all the same. But I just went through the entire Friday the 13th franchise from the beginning of summer to a couple weekends ago with my oldest guy who's 16. He wanted to do it. I watched a few Nightmare films a couple years ago, and I don't know, you know, it's probably my Halloween bias in me, but I think all of the originals are classics in their own right. But once you start to look at the full body of work from all those franchises, I don't think Friday or Nightmare comes close to holding up to how Halloween has over time, despite arguably Friday and Nightmare having a more, you know, a bigger grip on mainstream audiences.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think overall Halloween is the superior franchise, in my opinion. I did do what you did, Sean. I watched all the Friday the 13th movies recently, and I've grown to actually really enjoy that franchise. I think that Friday the 13th is probably out of those three the second favorite for me overall. But also the first Nightmare on Elm Street to me is very iconic. And I think the first Nightmare is better than any Friday movie. So I have a lot of mixture in there with those three franchises.
Yeah, I would as bad as Friday and Nightmare get, I don't like a lot of the, like, I'm not a big I think Halloween 4 is okay. I think H2O I'm not a fan of. Um I know I've told people this time and time again. I like the original Halloween, and I've really grown to like the next one we're gonna watch. And I know it's sacrilegious probably, but I kind of like the Rob Zombie ones. I don't think they're fantastic, but I do like them. Um, I think Halloween 2018 is really good. Like, I'd like to go from this to the next one to Halloween 2018, but I would probably give up Halloween if I was to drop one of these out of the big three.
Oof.
Oh man, that's rough. I think one of the great parts about Friday the 13th is I believe that series knows what it is.
Yeah,
Like
it's fun, right?
It knows what it is. It gives you what you want. Like there's good ones and bad ones. It's a lot of it is about the kills. A lot of people like to look up all the cool kills and top ranks of that. And like it seems to be a very self-aware franchise. Whereas Nightmare went in a bunch of different ways and did a bunch of different things. And there's lots of ones I like. Of all the franchises, I like binging them all, and I like just kind of popping them on AMC and fold laundry while I'm watching them in October. But Halloween is the one that I'll watch all year round.
Yeah, see, I only watch Halloween at Halloween. It's just one of those franchises that I really get in the mood for it on Halloween. Like, this is a tradition every year, watching this movie, especially on VHS actually. But I don't know, I was always a Friday the 13th fan growing up. Like, I didn't see the first. I saw Halloween 4 first in the year it came out. And I even then I was like, I didn't find it scary or anything. I was just like, I want Jason. I was a Jason Lives guy. That was my first horror movie. It's funny how everyone's different though. It's just the way you see film.
Yeah, most people think I'm nuts for not liking H1 the best, but like for me, and I go back and forth with this, but like sometimes I feel like H1's my second favorite or third favorite or fourth favorite, but it's never number one for me. I've always liked H4. I find the pacing of H4 to be just so far superior to the other movies. It flies by, and
If we had
Donald
that mask,
Pleasance.
if we had that mask that's on there, Halloween 4.
Yeah, they definitely shouldn't have advertised that with 4 and 5, and they did. That being said, I think the mask in 4 looks good sometimes, and then most of the times it doesn't.
You just like
Sean,
Although-
nightmare sequence.
Yeah. Although I do love when Michael's rocking in the chair, and he draws in big tit girl there.
Big tit girl there.
I love that whole sequence. And I don't find Michael very intimidating in the movie though. Like it's his physical presence. There's something about it that just I don't know. It just doesn't work for me.
I'll at least say for me, growing up, I was Nightmare, but after the first 3, I don't find them as interesting until Wes Craven's New Nightmare.
I'm you know what? I'm right with you there. Like I love the first 3. I love New Nightmare.
Right.
But I just find they're so like 1, 2, and 3 are just so good.
But then I went to Halloween, and then after Halloween, I hook, line, and sinker. I love Freddy, but Michael just does it for me more. Especially, I mean, everybody's like, well, if you had to pick Nightmare on Elm Street or Halloween, the first ones, which one do you pick? I was like, I can't. I mean, I love Halloween, but
that's
you know how you can tell. You know how you could tell what you like more. I own the Friday the 13th box set, but I got rid of the Halloween one quite a year. Like I gave it to someone. I did a raffle. That's how you know. You go, I have to have this. Whereas I don't really need the Halloween box set because I don't watch all of them. I just watch a handful of them.
But I'm like Karen, I can watch Halloween anytime. If it's on AMC, I'm watching it 9 times out of 10.
The attention to detail. I gotta give Halloween Resurrection some credit here. The doll, I always forget the name of it. That's on the dresser is the same doll that appears in Halloween Resurrection. Raggedy Ann. That's it. And and we will be doing a watch party for Halloween Resurrection, likely in November.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, right. Kieran and Johnny will be doing that one. And the intent is to do H4 with Mike and whoever else wants to join before Halloween. So, do we have a date on that yet, Mike, or are we still waiting?
Still waiting. I should know this week. But I was going to ask you, Sean, what's your favorite timeline?
My made up in my head one. 1, 2, 4.
Well,
stops there.
That's a good question. No, 100%, because mine is Halloween, Halloween 2, and H2O. But I know in that timeline is a resurrection. But in my head, it's 3 movies.
I like the original timeline, and they like I've said so many times on this, it's just because Loomis is in them. Like Halloween is the Loomis movie for me. He's the hero. He's the good guy. He's who I want to see. Like Michael's like the opposing. He's the bad guy. So like, I that's why I like 5 and I like 6 enough. I don't know. I like them all. But I like Loomis. I watch for the Loomis performance. Pretty much, that's what I'm in for.
I think
Loomis is great.
For me, has a real argument if 5 wasn't in it, because I've really grown to love 6 a lot.
Which cut?
Producer's cut.
Yeah, for me, it's the producer's cut.
I don't know. To me, it really doesn't matter. I think they're both. Personally, I just think they're both good. I think what I love so much about it is it feels like fall. It feels like Haddonfield. And I just think Michael Myers is brutal in both cuts. So I'm fine with either one, to be honest.
I think one of the reasons that H4 really takes it for me as the best Halloween flick is, we can talk about Rachel Carruthers and, little Jamie Lloyd and the cast and the pacing, but Donald Pleasance, in my opinion, is given more room to shine in H4 than he is in 1 and 2.
Oh, I agree completely. Goddamn kids.
Always love graveyards in horror films, man. No matter daylight at the nighttime, I love it.
Yeah.
I love graveyards.
It was probably Corey Feldman that dug up that grave.
As long as we don't have to see Matilda.
I'm probably in the minority here, but if we're just talking like the originals, H1, Nightmare 1, Friday 1, I'd probably take Texas Chainsaw Massacre over all 3 of those.
Yeah, night.
I wouldn't. I like. I think I like H1 best, but I think I like Black Christmas before any of the other.
I like Black
as
Christmas.
well.
I like Black Christmas
Black
more
Christmas a lot, actually.
Yeah, Nightmare on Elm Street would be number 1. It's like my top 3 horror films. But Black Christmas I like more than this movie. For me, personally, that's...
The October says, for all of you, which movie is your number 1 favorite version of Loomis? Rob Zombie's Halloween 2, for sure.
Yeah, 1 or 2 for me. I like them. I like what well, we'll talk about it, but the opening of 2. You don't know what death is.
Everyone knows the correct answer is H5. Come and get the little girl. You want her.
He's god awful in that movie.
I would go probably 4 or 6.
I like this scene, the Michael driving by in the background.
Like na 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 na.
Getting back to the actual movie. Sorry, Mike, you go ahead.
No, I was going to say, let's take a second to give Michael his respect for obeying the law and waiting for the light to change.
To turn.
Someone brought up earlier, he looks both ways.
Getting back to the actual movie, I think one of the things that separates this movie in the way that I say is really, I can't, when you talk about acting performances, you can say this and that, whatever, but all of the characters, except for maybe the boyfriends in this movie, are super believable. I feel like the 3 girls, even though, the one is kind of ditzy and funny, I feel like they're all very believable, archetypes. They're people you could have met in high school. They seem believable. And, obviously Loomis is great. I think that, I think it's just a really believable movie, even though it's kind of slow paced. All the characters are played pretty well. And,
yeah,
real.
They feel real.
In horror movies, that doesn't happen a lot. There's usually at least one character who is god awful. There's always someone who you're oh my God, that could not be a real person. I don't know what they're going for.
I wouldn't have hung out with Tina in high school. That's just me.
She wouldn't have hung out with you.
Maybe Sean would have hung out with her.
Fuck that. Shout out to Justin Osborne for that wicked artwork on the right. Is that who did it? I've seen it on some some t-shirts, pardon me. It's really, really well done. There'll be another one on display for when we have H2 on.
Big cookie woman.
I guess that's why I would have seen it on some T-shirts.
The creep factor, man. This movie has the creep factor.
Whips out the gun in front of Brackett. Brackett's so not impressed.
I was told there's nothing left.
This performance is fantastic here.
Well, we've seen what happens in Halloween Kills when you alert everybody to it. So
They
that went real well.
recreated they recreated that so well though. Especially the extended cut where he sees Michael at the fence and Michael dips behind. That was great.
Laser Man, Neutron Man.
I think Halloween Kills gets a bad rap. It's better than I think people give it credit for.
It has a lot of good moments in it. It's just some of the stuff in between, and I think that one will grow on me the most.
I think it's a great film to watch. I mean, if I'm rating it on like all the, if I give it a star rating and I look through everything, maybe, but it's definitely fun to watch. Like, I it might be near the top in terms of like just popping it in and watching it.
It's got one of the best openings ever. I love that opening, the flashback. I mean, everything.
Well, I mean, I know we're not watching Halloween Kills tonight, but like David Gordon Green after 2018, his ideas and his team's ideas were everywhere with what those next two movies were going to be. At one point, Halloween Kills was almost completely a flashback. And at the tail end of the film, you would have moved back to current timeline, and then Halloween Ends would have been what you got with Halloween Kills.
That's what I would have rather have seen. That's what I would have rather seen. I think that would have been that. Then we'd be talking a different story, maybe when it comes to Halloween as a whole.
Yes, and Karen would still be alive.
Oh, for the love of God!
Cameron's death was amazing. I thought that was a great death. Cameron's death was awesome. Like the way Michael's just looking, cocking his head like this. Fucking Annie, man. She's a fucking whiner.
Brawless wonder.
She's a piece of work in H3 as well. Here comes dinner.
But this movie's tradition every year, man. I think everyone watches this, or at least most people I would think would watch this on Halloween night.
I don't have the attachment that a lot of people do to the first one, so for me, I just try to watch something Halloween related around Halloween. But
I'm going to watch Halloween Ends on Halloween, the best Halloween movie.
Oh, God. There's the original Thing. It's awesome.
I actually haven't seen any of the versions of the Thing either, and I really should. Recently, I thought I should, but I just haven't got around to it.
So Nancy watches Evil Dead and Nightmare on Elm Street. They're watching the original Thing.
The boogeyman.
Michael's sitting by the door. Like she's gonna hear you from there.
Babysitter stuck in the window. I've never seen that video before.
Yeah. Yeah, she's a bit of a dumbass.
I know everybody wants to go back to like what we're seeing here, where Michael's stalking and in the shadows and creeping on Annie and creeping on Lori earlier in the film, and everybody crazed for that. But like, I gotta be honest. In my opinion, when doing a new Halloween project, obviously we know there's a TV show well in the works now, and eventually another movie. Um, I I don't think it works. I don't think it's enough. go watch Halloween Stalks, the fan film. They did a fantastic job with that, if that's what you want to see. But I think you need to sell people on more than just here's something we did, 40 some odd years ago, almost 50 years ago now. I think you need new ideas.
I think it can be done, but I think you'd have to be really creative in ways that he could pop up that would that you wouldn't see, and then you would see, like when he's in the closet way there or whatever, and you like see his mask kind of come through. You'd have to do things like that, and you'd have to be very creative about how he could be, how it could be that creepy that he's in that place and you didn't see him.
Well, the flashback did it perfectly. They started off with that real creepy him slowly coming up to you, but then he attacks the cop. The way that's what you need to build it up. But I hear what Sean's saying, but you don't need 90 minutes or what is it, an hour to build it up. I think you could get there sooner now. But I still like a bit of both. I would like to have a bit of both of those worlds. And again, I'm a slow burn person. I love slow burns.
There's such an art to to making films creepy or scary, and like a lot of films today they just go with like, oh, what, like if you watch Terrifier or whatever, like they try to find the scariest possible things and stuff like that, but like I think to make things creepy, like there's an art to it. Like you have to care about the characters who are dying, otherwise you don't care. You have to somehow make the character relatable, make them scary. Like that's why they say, like when you have younger people, you might be more scared. Like obviously, if the closer they are to being a child, becomes more of a like, oh, you don't want kids to die. Obviously, everyone feels bad for that, but like, and just like the way of making it something that you would not, that you would be scared of is like really an art. So, and I, some movies do it well, and some movies just go like, oh, how about fire, and then falling off a cliff, and then getting hit with an axe, and like you're like, oh, okay, well, like those things are scary, but I don't think those things will happen to me. So I don't know. I think there's a really, and just like the movies, I think it depends on every person and what they're scared of and what they find more to be horrifying. So
I enjoy the realization here.
I don't think there's anything scary about Terrifier 3. Mike might disagree with me, but for me, there was nothing scary about it.
I appreciate what Terrifier has done. I only watched the first two movies because Mike had gotten me to do it. But like they started off as incredibly low budget independent films, and even the newest one's not like a gigantic budget, and it's had mass financial success here, which is great for all them. It's not what I look for in a horror movie.
Oh, it's still a good horror. It's still a good horror movie. It just wasn't scary.
Jade said that she enjoyed the video Mike posted about art scaring your sister.
Yeah, that was good. Yeah, he just came out behind the curtains and we were not paying attention. But yeah, it was good. He's awesome. I really enjoy David a lot.
He seems like a really nice guy. Fairly authentic.
Yeah, he's pretty busy right now, for sure.
He definitely has a boatload of passion.
Yeah, I've only seen the first two, and I wasn't a biggest fan of number one, but I liked two a lot more. And that was because of the final girl, though, and how they were using like almost like a mythology of pure evil versus pure good, and she had that sword. and everything like that. I really like that. I like the fantastical approach to it.
I can definitely say if you enjoy that good versus evil, plot or whatever, you're gonna really like Terrifier 3.
I
Some
agree.
people don't like that.
I
If you enjoyed it, you'll like
I
it.
thought she was one of the best final girls in years. Just
Yeah,
because I
she
really
is.
cared about the in number 2 though, where Art the Clown grabbed her sword, I thought it was gonna burn him, like he couldn't touch that, like it was gonna be something that, and I was like, oh, okay, that threw me for a curve because I thought that's what was gonna happen, but
Yeah.
it's almost like that's an idea that could really be explored. Of
Mhm.
like, the final girl versus the evil. It's almost like I wish they would have took Nightmare on Elm Street that way when Nancy died. Like she could have come back in your good dreams, and Freddy was the nightmares. I
Yeah.
thought you're going fantastical anyway, so why didn't they do something like that? Is beyond me. But
Well, I mean, I'm not gonna spoil it for you, but I will definitely just say then you're gonna really, really enjoy Terrifier 3 a lot then.
Mhm.
oh, that's good. That's awesome. I love how Loomis has a sense of humor while this is going on.
Honey. A shitty grin on his face.
What about Michael working in a concept like in a violent nature, where you see him placing bodies places and following Michael around? I think that concept would have worked a lot better with a character like Myers.
Yeah, that's not a bad idea at all. To be honest with you, I would definitely watch it.
My God, Kieran looks so different.
Bob, Linda, and Bob.
Totally.
I like Linda. I think Linda's a great character.
Sorry, my dogs are barking at nothing outside a lot today, so I keep getting up.
Yeah, Sean, you're gonna love The Thing. I think.
Well, I mean, I know some people speak critically of it, but I enjoy John Carpenter's The Fog.
Mm.
I'm a big fan of Starman. I think that's one of my favorite Carpenter films.
Mike, did you see Lance Guest when you were there?
I mean, I saw him at his table, but I didn't go up to him to see him.
Okay. Yeah, might have to walk up and talk to him how his career went to shit after Jaws of Revenge.
Believe it or not, when I first saw that as a kid, the opening terrified me. I watch it
the
now and
opening
go,
was
"What?"
really good. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm watching it. I watch it now and go, "What the hell? Oh, this scared me."
Bob's such a
What part are
creeper.
y'all at?
Sorry, say that again, Mike.
What part is on the screen for y'all?
Bob and Linda are getting up from the couch. Just turn the lamp off.
Cool. Same.
Mhm.
Would have been cool there if the jack-o'-lantern to the side of the bed was the actual one from the credits. I know
Yeah,
it's
that would have been
unimportant,
cool.
but
Would have been a nice touch, though. Go get me a fucking beer now.
Yeah.
dude, Bob didn't even pull out. Yeah, I mean, look at the way Bob was friggin' talking about. Oh my God, why am I?
Lindsay.
Lindsay.
Yeah, that dialogue doesn't hold up, does it? Yeah, I see he's really in darkness on the VHS here. You can still see the light and everything, the blue lighting and everything. But... You know what I love here is that when Jamie Lee Curtis comes and she puts her hand on the door, right? You could almost hear the people in the theater at the time going, "Don't open it," because that's where Michael came out, right?
Mm-hmm.
I like how Carpenter does that. This very subtle, very nuanced, but it's making you think.
I'm gonna take a page out of Kieran's book here. Who, when he watches the Halloween Kills firefighter scene, he's always like, "Why didn't he do this? Why didn't they do that?" Bob never tries to kick Michael there. There's a bunch of time there where Michael's grabbing him by the neck before he gets lifted, where he could be kicking him in the balls, kicking him in the legs. There's no attempt to move his feet whatsoever.
And he's a big dude too. He looks very tall and everything.
See, that's not at all what my complaint. My complaint would be that a knife could never hold a body against a door like that.
Also, the knife apparently grew.
I mean, people act weird when they're getting choked. I can confirm that. So, being a jiu-jitsu brown belt, I've seen a lot of people get choked unconscious, and everyone does something different.
I like how Michael has a thing for the theatrics. Got the ghost sheet on.
Yeah.
I like how, like, his body movement is unnatural, like, for doing something like that. Like, it would make, a killer who is a human would use, would use two hands and choke someone, or would, like, get some body leverage, whereas Michael just, like, does it straight like that, and obviously has, like, a supernatural strength, and, so he can do some of these things, but I just think it's cool how he has his own style, his own body movement, his own way he walks, and things like that. And it's not a human way. Like, you can analyze the way he moves and does things and be like, okay, he's not a human. Like, he's something different.
He's very methodical. Like,
yeah,
the way
I was on a message board not too long ago where someone was arguing, like, about the way he did things, and, like, he's just a stupid zombie. And I was like, whoa, you missed the point at all. He's actually very intelligent in the way that he does things. Like, I don't know how you can get through the movies and think that he's not intelligent.
No, he there's a certain way Michael moves, and well, look, this is one of my complaints about some of these sequels, is that I just don't find there's just something about the way they walk and some of the other actors that I just don't find there's that that evil presence that I should be afraid. Whereas the way Nick Castle walks, the way Nick Castle walks, there's something about it that is I don't know, it's creepy. It's like I want to stay away from this dude.
Yeah, like me and Sean have talked before about how, 1 versus 4. In 4, he's like a Terminator. Like, he walks robotically, like but like the things make sense, like the way a robot would walk, or that sort of Terminator thing. It makes sense. It's like invincible and not scared of anything, but the body movement is like still human, whereas, like, I think the way he moves in this movie is like inhuman. So,
see, I like Dick Warlock's walk a lot better.
That's fair.
But you talk about how he walks in 4. It was kind of robotic. It's like, okay, he walked. George Wilbur walked a lot better in 6, in my opinion.
I agree with you on that. I think his performance in 6 is much better.
Right.
I like Dick Warlock in H3. The drill kill is still one of my favorite kills in the entire franchise.
I guess it's all where your camera is placing you too, right? Because Nick Castle at the convention I met him at just told me, I said, Carpenter just told me, just walk, and he just walked. So I don't know, simplicity, really. Maybe these other movies try too hard. They're trying too hard. I don't know, but Nick Castle is and does it awesome. I love the long walk over to the house.
Yeah, see, this is what would scare me as a kid. Like, if I watch a Freddy movie, I'm like, okay, well, that's not going to happen. But like walking in the dark through my neighborhood, all the way until I was like, even when I was kind of like an early teenager, would have been, I don't know, creepy to me, especially if there's nothing going on, no one out. Like, so this is scarier to me than a lot of stuff that happens in like a nightmare movie.
Oh, frick, man. The original Nightmare I'm talking now, okay? Um, the whole boiler room stuff, when he kills Tina, I find that terrifying. Especially if you got the atmosphere set right, if you're in like a dark basement or something like that. The way Freddy comes around that wall. Even number 2, he's pretty scary in. His look is very scary and everything. I like number 2 as well. I guess that, I guess other people just see. It's also Robert Englund's performance, right? It's the way he's just playing with them and everything.
I like number 2 quite a bit. I rewatched. I said this already. I rewatched 1 to 5, and I actually enjoyed them all in a way. Like I actually, I had a much better opinion on 5 than I did the last time I watched it. Last time I was like, 5 is trash, but like, it's like, you know what? Like, it's kind of goofy, but there's some good ideas in here, and I don't know. I think people rate it pretty low in their rankings there, but like that watch, I liked it.
I do think the way you watch these movies, or just horror movies in general, matter. Like, if you don't have the right setting and atmosphere, you don't get as much from it. Like, my favorite horror movie ever, The Shining. Like, I think if you watch that movie in broad daylight, and I think we were doing that during filming at one point, Kieran, up here, it's just not. It's not the same as watching the movie at night with all your lights off. You watch The Shining, a movie like The Shining, by yourself or with one other person, and there's no lights on in the house. I think the atmosphere is right for that. You watch it at 3 o'clock in the afternoon on a weekend, and there's stuff going on outside. To me, that doesn't work.
Yeah. Well, you also got to be really focused on you got to be into what you're watching with very little distraction, I find. Um, and like fear, what we find scary is so subjective, right? Um, yeah, it's different. I do find this movie. I don't remember watching it the first time as a kid. I just remember always being on every year.
The music adds just such a layer of suspense to the film.
Yeah, yeah, that's everything, right? But I love this slow build up of everything. You're like, when's he gonna come out? Like you're just on the edge of your seat, especially if you're watching this for the first time.
We're about to see Matt's favorite Michael Myers actor soon.
The creator of the mask himself.
I was actually going to say Tony Moran.
Go to hell.
They seem like horror tropes, but this is the first time they did all this stuff. Oh, here comes our classic shot.
That's a hell of a bump.
Yeah, I think she'd be way more fucked by that, but
That happened to my mother, minus the knife stabbing part, about 10 years ago. And let me tell you, she was fucked. She would not have been able to do this.
One thing I really loved about Hush by Mike Flanagan is the his wife there who plays Maddie. It's very grounded. Like she couldn't even load the arrow into the thing. She was hurting her hand, and it was just love the creative decisions they made on that film.
Hush is fucking incredible. Mike introduced me to that, and definitely something I want to do as a watch party sometime here in the future on the channel. There's an excellent Scream Factory 4K coming out of that.
Yeah.
It's absolutely loaded with extras.
Yeah.
Just several hours of incredible behind the scenes, deleted scenes, a black and white version of the film, new interviews and stuff. Like, it's loaded.
That's awesome. Yeah, I read about all that because I'm a huge Mike Flanagan fan, so definitely would like to get my hands on that.
You picking that one up, Mike?
Yes. I feel like I have to.
Yeah, it's a must get for me.
I can't wait to see what he does with The Exorcist.
Can it be worse than David Gordon Green?
No, not with Flanagan in charge. This is suspenseful, man. This with Michael coming after.
yeah, they time it really well where you think that like it should be when you're gauging that, he should have got her right around when they opened the door. Like they did a pretty good job. There is some movies where they time that really poorly. Where like he should have got her like 5 seconds ago or like 10 seconds ago, and you're like this,
Yeah.
that was not good. But I think they synced that one up pretty good.
I haven't seen Prince of Darkness yet either, Turkey Burger. All the artwork I see of that, though, looks fantastic. It actually kind of reminds me a little bit of the artwork from Mike Flanagan's Midnight Mass.
Donald Pleasance is in that, isn't he?
Yeah, he is.
That's right.
I hope she knows she could be charged with assault and attempted murder.
It's another one of these movies where everything's iconic, though. Every shot, almost every scene, you could say, "Oh, this is so iconic." The shot here.
Got the knife in his hand. Stab him some more.
No, she needs him to live so she can wave her creative control wand in future pictures.
Such a buzzkill.
I'm sure if they would have had the money, they would have had kids walking around and trick or treaters and all that kind of Halloween atmosphere.
Yeah, now that you point that out, it really is kind of missing that
That if
touch.
I was to say one thing, like it's almost like the original Rocky. They couldn't afford to have everybody at the boxing fight, so they inserted like these shots. And Stallone says it's a perfect movie, but I wish we would have had people, like the whole auditorium filled. They said that would have been perfect after that. Money, eh?
Changes a lot.
That's what I liked about 2018 when everyone was trick or treating and Michael's walking amongst everybody. It just added something. It was just like, man, this guy's walking amongst everyone here. Oh, the closet. I love this. You guys notice that the whole movie starts with a lot with wide shots. It gets closer and closer, and now we're right into the closet with her. It's a decision Carpenter made that I think is really cool.
I was listening to, who was it? I think it was Dean Cundy. And he was talking about, and since you're watching the VHS, Jason, you might be able to add to it. The one thing the VHS doesn't capture, though, is the wide shots. The VHS shrinks a lot of the shots, and you miss
You're right.
a lot
Yeah,
of
because it's
the extra stuff where, like, I'm assuming all of us who are watching different versions of it are getting that stuff, but
yeah,
like, there's
you're
a good
right
chunk of the
because
picture you're not getting.
because this is a 4-to-3 ratio, right? Which has its own benefits. Like when they dim him up and he's right behind Laurie, he really fills the screen up. But you're right, at the beginning of the movie with all those wide shots, I don't get that as much.
Michael's poor eye just takes a beating.
Poor Tommy Lee.
He performed great as Michael in this scene. What was the point though of everyone playing a different, like why were there so many people playing Michael?
I think just availability, right? I mean, you mentioned it before, money.
Yeah, I should have asked Tommy that this weekend, but I'm not sure. I would assume availability. Although this is, we'll see Tony Moran here in a few seconds. That doesn't mean it was shot on the same day. I'm sure that closet scene took, a couple shots at least to get correct, along with this perfect setup. I don't know who's in costume for what's about to happen, but
I think it's Nick Castle. I think Nick Castle does the setup and everything.
Anyone who tells you the Undertaker invented the sit-up, to show them this movie and tell them to shut up.
He recently finally came out and said it. Now that he's doing so many interviews, he recently came out and said it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, for a while he never said it, but that's because he also never said shit about the business until he was like done, retired. So.
And when he gets up, it's so methodical. He's kind of like.
I still love the sit up with Brock Lesnar right beside him. Probably one of the best ones.
Yeah, there you go, Sean. I didn't even see Michael get up. He's actually off the screen a little bit on the VHS. So on the what you guys are watching, you would have saw him in the background, which I think's a little better. There we go, dirty Harry, your ass.
I shot him 7 times.
6 times, 7 in H2.
There are people that swear that he shoots him 7 times in this movie.
Yeah. It's 6, but then when H2 starts, it's 7.
You mean in like the recap it shows 7?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. There are people that swear that that's this movie. It's 7 times too.
I
There-
love the
there's-
fact that he's just gone.
There's people who say dumb things everywhere though. So
The look on Loomis's face.
I knew it.
Oh yeah, the ending is great.
iconic.
Well, you go right to the flashback scene now.
Donald Pleasant's acting there without ever saying a word there at the end
Yeah,
is just next level shit. That, like, we're talking almost on Hayden Christensen level. No, seriously though, it's next level shit. Man, I think they only had him for what, 8 days on this film, and boy, did they make use of that.
They definitely got their money's worth.
Hell of a flick.
man, yeah, like it's
Hello.
funny. Like obviously it's a big franchise, but like if this was only like I almost wonder like how great it would be if this was the only one. It would just
Well, I mean, in like when this movie first came out, it wasn't a big hit. It was mediocre to below average in the box office. It was word of mouth that ended up spreading in terms of reviews and stuff, and some big time movie critics got a hold of it and loved it. I'm forgetting the main one that really sent it flying to another level, but it was the long term theatrical run that it had, where it actually, you know, most days, 99.9% of the time in cinemas now, you make all your money in the first 2 weeks. Halloween was not like that. It made all of its money in the later portion of its release.
yeah, and people were just ready for something different. And you know, it just opened that door for the slasher genre. And Friday the 13th, you know, rips it off deliberately, adds the gore, and then that just seals the deal. Then the next 4 or 5 years, it was slasher, right?
So we're going to take 5 minutes here and queue up H2. Who's leaving after H1?
yeah, I gotta go. I can't stay up that late.
All right. No worries. I understand. Take it easy, man, and look forward to hopefully having you back next week for the for a normal
thing.
Fandom Empire Live episode.
I hope to be there. I'll do whatever I can. We'll see about hockey. I don't remember what the hockey schedule is like. That's pretty much that all. That's pretty much the only thing that's going to keep me from being on Tuesdays is going and taking my daughter to hockey.
Sounds good, man. Family first, always. Take it easy, dude. Matt, are you sticking around for H2 or do you want to be outroed here?
Maybe I'll stick around.
All right, so if you guys need to refill your drinks or go use the potty, any of that stuff, now's the time to do so. I'm gonna do some of that stuff, so I will put up a little image here and say that we will be back momentarily.
Bust out the Tommy Lit B.
Welcome back to Fandom Empire's double feature watch party. I'm going to send out some more notifications, the ones that YouTube elects not to send to everybody, those ones. Joining me for Halloween 2, and to be honest, it's probably the one I was more excited to get into this evening. I know that might be blasphemy to some. Is the man behind the Take One podcast, showing dedication, doing it from a hotel room. I don't know if he's here right now. Yes, he's still here. Mr. Mike Bish, what's going on, man?
Good, man. Glad to be here. Glad we got to get in the classic original time for Halloween 2. And I love this film. It's the second most beloved film in the franchise for me. So excited to dive into it. Also, I'm watching on Peacock, and Peacock, I don't know if anybody's familiar with that, but they show the Rotten Tomatoes score, and it has from the critics a 33% and from the audience a 63%, which is way too low, in my opinion.
I think it's low on both fronts.
Yeah.
I go back and forth over which one I like more between H1 and H2. That's how much I enjoy it.
That's fair. I mean, I know H1 is my favorite, but I'm not going to sit here and argue too much with you on between the original and 2. I love 2 so much, so I get it. Something about being in an empty hospital just creeps me out. It creeped me out when I was a child, and it still creeps me out as an adult.
I am paused at Haddonfield, Illinois as soon as it comes up.
All right, give me a second.
And yes, the hospital in this movie is a character in its own right. I feel something Jason brought up towards the end of the last movie. Speaking of which, Jason from Backtrack Cinema is here with us tonight. There's no real Halloween atmosphere in the town at the during nighttime for H1, which to me takes away a bit of the character that could have been in that movie. But with the hospital, it's like, I don't know if you, Jason, we're all old enough, I believe, that if you spent any time at nighttime in a hospital, when you were younger, when hospitals were dark and dingy and a ghost town, like Jason, I think about Lake Ridge back home and how it used to be. Like, you're in that place at 2 or 3 a.m. and it feels like you're in Haddonfield Memorial.
Yeah. Yeah, man. I mean, definitely empty hospital vibe. Definitely creepy. I personally think Visiting Hours is the best hospital slasher ever made, but
I don't think I've seen that.
A lot of people haven't. It's one on my channel I tell people about all the time. It's really good. 1982.
What is it?
It's in Visiting Hours.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to look that up.
It's a good one. It has Michael Ironside as the killer. It has Lee Grant, Linda Pearl, and William Shatner. But he's basically like a woman hater. Like he's a real bigot, this killer, and this journalist is standing up for women's rights, and it pisses him off, and he kind of follows her to her house to take her out, and he doesn't, and then he spends the whole time trying to get into this hospital to get her. So, except for the hospital has lots of people in it and everything. Doesn't have that loneliness to it that this film has. There's extras and everything. Like, a Canadian movie. It's a Canadian slasher filmed in Montreal.
Nice. I'm gonna have to look into that.
I think you can watch it free on YouTube. I think someone's dumped it on YouTube for free.
Even better. It's my kind of thing. Free.
Right.
I'm at Haddonfield, Illinois. Is everybody else?
I am.
All right. So we'll do our 3, 2, 1, go countdown. And we will take off. This is Halloween 2 from 1981, directed by Rick Rosenthal. And I hear a lot of people go on and be like, man, Rosenthal and Carpenter should get back together and do another Halloween thing at times. And let me tell you, Rick Rosenthal and John Carpenter did not see eye to eye, like, at all. So we'll dive into a little bit of that during the movie. But without further ado, Halloween 2 on 3, 2, 1, go.
I really like how it picks up right after. That's what makes it such a good 1-2 punch.
Agreed. I agree with that.
My only thing is the TV version where they do the court scene, the hearing with Loomis and the two doctors. I would have loved for them to put that in this somewhere. I just don't know where you could have put it.
I do like the TV cut for H2, and it is included in the Scream Factory 4K set.
I like the TV edit for the first movie. Believe it or not. Isn't the Elm Street house in the same area where all this
Yeah,
was
it's
filmed?
directly across the street. It's what is it? I think it's Sunset Boulevard. On one side is the Halloween house, and literally across Sunset Boulevard is the Nightmare House.
The score for H2 is far superior to H1, in my opinion. Like the overall score, the synth, it just adds something else.
I like when movies give you a recap like this, like the Rocky franchise does it. Friday the 13th does it.
Seven shots.
7 shots in H2, but 6 in H1.
Mm-hmm.
As a matter of fact, it was.
Well, I'll be damned.
His eyes. If it bleeds, we can kill it.
If he died, he died. He's still loose.
Yeah,
You don't know
Loomis
what death
got a
is.
little bit of the crazy voice back. Oh my god, that score.
It's good. Now, this has my favorite Halloween poster with the skull. And this opening, I really love this opening.
Matt likes this movie almost as much as Halloween Ends.
Oh yeah. Almost as much as you like Tina's acting in Halloween 5.
Oscar worthy.
Oscar worthy. Leo Rossi, my favorite actor.
Oh, Mark Goldblatt. He edited a lot of action movies, I believe.
I do hope the TV show, at least for the first episode, has this style of an opening. It's the one thing I do think David Gordon Green's trilogy nailed is going back to this kind of opening. I think it really sets the table for the mood and the atmosphere.
Yeah, for sure.
Look, it's Benny from Halloween Town.
I keep on forgetting that Cundy was the director of photography on this one too.
Yeah.
Yeah, he speaks in Taking Shape about really helping Rick Rosenthal through certain situations, and he talks a little bit about Rosenthal and Carpenter not getting along, and Rosenthal not really wanting to follow some of the stuff that was in Carpenter's script.
Yeah, I dig this one.
You know what's
I like-
impressive about this is think back to the Halloween Kills and that same like alleyway feel.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
spot on.
I really like the first 20 minutes. I like the last 20 minutes. It's just a lot of the middle in this movie. I think is where some of the problems are. Yeah, but Sean's right. This Kills has more of a feeling of this movie, the beginning here, than the first one. Can't go wrong with POV.
It's Sean and Jade in 30 years.
Unlikely.
What? That's right. She wouldn't be making you the sandwich.
No. If health hasn't killed me by then, I'm sure she will.
Now, the choice to put Night of the Living Dead on, is that because it's a free domain movie? I don't know if it was back then, but apparently Night of the Living Dead is public domain. You could That shot of Michael was awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Love it.
Ketchup. I love this scene right here.
I do like the Dick Warlock walk there.
Mm-hmm. I must be behind because I hear echo. Are you okay? Are you okay?
There's a good jump scare here when he kills her.
Mm-hmm.
When I first saw it, I actually jumped.
He
caught me
kills
right
her. Jason, you spoiled them.
Damn it.
You haven't seen this movie now. I don't think you plan on seeing it.
Who is it?
Yeah, this is timed pretty good.
Yeah, I'm going to say the opposite. I think, I don't know. That kill felt like it had a lot of cheese to me. That felt like it could have been out of a Friday the 13th movie.
I agree.
Well, that's what's weird about this franchise is that Friday ripped off Halloween. Then, in a weird way, Halloween 2 tried to be more like Friday, with more of a stalk and slash. So what I don't know much about the behind the scenes. What were the creative differences between Carpenter and Rosenthal?
So the biggest thing was just Rosenthal. Carpenter wanted it shot in a particular way, but didn't want to shoot the movie himself, and was very critical of how Rosenthal shot the movie. And Rosenthal was also very critical of certain aspects of the script from Carpenter. And like, you really need your writer and your director on the same page, and they just were not for this movie. It's actually remarkable how well the movie came out, considering that.
Interesting. This freaking kid's nose is all messed up. His mouth.
Mm-hmm.
It's Billy! Time traveling!
Kind of does look like Billy.
Freaking Bud, he could be Trent's dad from the Friday remake.
Jamie Lee Curtis's wig in this is awful.
That's what everyone says about this movie. It's the biggest thing everyone says, how bad her wig is.
We should see a doctor right away. He's like the unit up.
Great.
But the guy.
Well, she would have already done Terror Train. That was 1980, right?
Yeah.
Prom Night. This would have been around when she did Prom Night.
Yeah, her hair was short by then.
Yeah.
What the hell is a tetanus shot?
Let me tell you, this doctor comes up to my bedside. I'm probably not letting him touch me, regardless of the shape I'm in.
Get away from me, you drunk fucker.
I was that asshole who, after his heart attack, one of the nurses was all cared about everything but doing her job. So I had to go to like the manager and be like, "Yeah, you need to switch the nurse for me because I'm not going to allow any more care."
Well, keep going. Now, doctor, just right there. Only when I stop taking orders from you.
Would you put that thing away?
Primary concern is that we stop it. Knock him out. Think I'm lying, sir.
Now he shot him 6 times again.
Uh-oh.
Ben Tramer.
Poor Ben Tramer.
I
He
love
was
this
just
scene.
leaving a party.
With the music and everything. Wham! Boom!
Ben Tramer got fucked.
Yeah.
It's saying in the chat, Ben Tramer is so hot. Well, now he's burning up.
So you're saying he's hot now?
Yeah, this just has that dark, creepy, empty hospital feeling that you just. I mean, hospitals today aren't quite like that, but man, I hated being in one as a kid.
Yeah, same. I don't think I've ever been in a hospital late at night, and I still wonder if it's that dead.
It
For me,
can be to a certain point in the middle of the night. I know because I had taken my kids on several occasions when they were smaller to ERs in the middle of the night, and not quite this dead, but it can be pretty quiet, I guess.
When I had my 6-day stay there in the late spring, I was up and active whenever I could be because I was just so filled with anxiety over everything that I'd find going for a little walk would help. But yeah, you get around that midnight time and you get to like where they're all sitting at their station and stuff. It's pretty populated, but the rest of the like long hallways, like it's pretty empty. It's not a great feeling. It's very eerie. Going on, Entertainment Wizard.
Jimmy's a fucking moron.
I'm trying to picture you with Jimmy hair.
Dana Carvey.
I could rock it. I'm not gonna lie.
Mike kind of reminds me of Bub with the beard.
Fuck you.
It's okay. Matt reminds me of Karen.
You remind me of a Karen.
Plenty of them.
Damn you.
Unpopular opinion, probably, considering the love for two of the movies and the hate for two of the movies. And don't get me wrong, Charles Cyphers was a great actor. R.I.P. to him, obviously, who passed away recently. But my God, when you compare his bracket to oh my God, I'm forgetting the actor's name.
Brad Dourif?
Brad Dourif's bracket. Brad Dourif's bracket is way better,
Oh God,
way more intense.
yeah,
In my opinion, Brad Dourif is the unsung hero of those two Rob Zombie movies.
yeah, he was very good in it.
Yeah, especially the second one.
100%.
Oh yeah, you just feel it. You feel the rage and his hatred and the emotion, and Especially when he meets up with Loomis again. He's like, I want to kill you so fucking bad. He's a good actor, Brad Dourif, fan.
Yeah, when he finds Danielle Harris's Annie there, it's just something else. Here's Matt boombox in a cowboy hat.
See, this one has people walking around and stuff like that. It adds a bit more level of danger. See, Dick Warlock there, this feels like he's walking casually.
Yeah, that comes across as a little bit more casual walk versus when he's sitting right by that house.
Until you pointed it out in that the watch along there for the H1, Jason, I never really picked up on like just how like no trick or treaters are around in H1 at nighttime, and it doesn't really feel like Halloween.
Yeah, it's I'm sure they would Carpenter would have loved to have that, but
Also, love the shots throughout this movie of the empty hallways. They do it throughout the entire movie.
Mm-hmm.
I swear yesterday when she was coming in. Maybe shopping bag up.
But such an asshole.
yeah, I know, right?
He is.
Jimmy's just eavesdropping on the whole thing.
You don't have to swear, but every other word you say is either hell or shit or damn.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I know. I've got to get on board. Gee,
Amazing Grace, come sit on my face. Make me cry. I need your pie.
Let's just shut up.
Why you just shut up?
All right, so what do you want me
Yeah, Jimmy's not having it.
I'm gonna slip in a puddle of blood later.
Wee plump. I'll tell you one thing, Leo Rossi does not look the same as he did back then at all.
I like the staircase shot.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I've always loved the POV shots. I feel like we get it a lot in here and too.
Oh God, the babies.
I've never seen a baby ward and no nurses around.
Baby wards don't even exist up here anymore. Not a thing.
That could be the difference between one and one of those kids. You're right, honestly. That's going to be our time.
Love the Michael walking away in the background.
Yeah, that's such a cool shot, especially when
Mhm.
he also walks into the hallway right there.
This small hospital apparently has someone that can perform surgery, but nobody for security.
Why me?
Entertainment Wizard speaking positively of Leo Rossi.
I
In other
believe
words,
it.
he's saying, "Shut up, Matt."
No, I'm not saying. I'm not saying he just doesn't look the same anymore. I bet he still is a hoot.
Weren't Lori's parents supposed to be again during all this?
At a party or something like that, I think.
At a Waffle House after going to a party.
Yeah, that's where I would be. Waffle House.
Mm-hmm. God, that's where I know I was plenty of nights when I was in my 20s going after leaving a bar.
Really appreciate everyone toughing it out tonight. I know I'm mega tired. It's hard to do a double feature watch party when we're starting at 8:30 and really the movie's not starting until about 8:45 or so. But I always enjoy watching these. It'll be the only
What
double.
did you?
It'll be the only double feature watch party we do though during our stretch of watch parties here. We know we're gonna do H4. We know we're gonna do Resurrection. We know we're gonna do Kills, and we know we're gonna do Rob Zombie's Halloween 2 between now and the end of November.
They can give you pretty good watch time, I find.
This guy kind of reminds me of the security guard that gets it in Resurrection.
All right, yeah. Look at that. Someone who actually turned a light on in a horror film. I will say, I think this may be a little drawn out, a little too long. Friday 2 had the same kill pretty much. That dude is burnt up. Yeah, Dustin, that was a good sound effect. Hammer hitting his head.
Sneak peek of what Halloween Kills was going to be like.
There they are. Evil dies tonight. The mob. You guys notice that the coroner is the guy from Jaws? Brody's deputy?
Mm-mm.
I did not.
That's a good call out.
I fucking love Jaws. One of my favorite movies.
Oh, it's awesome.
Clinic and suspense.
Wasn't Hunt in Kills?
And
I'm not
Brody's
sure.
son is Jimmy, apparently. Jaws revenge lead.
Oh yeah, he was in that, wasn't he? He just has
I
the
did not
beard
know
on.
that.
Lance Guest is from The Last Starfighter. That's what I remember him from.
I'm all
Yeah.
for Jaws fan films or even Jaws sequels, but I'm glad that Spielberg has been 100% against the Jaws remake.
I don't blame him. I want. Yeah,
Some movies you just don't touch.
that's one of them.
Yeah.
This could have been Halloween Returns. They're so in over their head. I love it though.
You know, Kills definitely makes a lot more sense if you added this movie to the continuity of that timeline.
How?
Well, just with the mob there, the hospital. Oh, this guy. Bud?
Entertainment Wizard says, I wish we got Halloween Returns over the DGG trilogy. Was not happy that Returns would also erase H2, but at least in that script, I see why they were going to do it. Yeah, I mean, hindsight's always 2020 on these things, right? But after, you know, listening and reading Taking Shape 2 and how much they dive into Halloween Returns and then reading the script from start to finish, I don't think there's any doubt Halloween Returns was the, at least from a storytelling perspective, the better option. But again, you ran into rights issues and BS behind the scenes, which always seems to happen with Halloween projects. And, you know, we're halfway through October with no announcement yet on a TV series that, in my opinion, I don't think is as far along as people want it to be. And, you know, with this franchise, it's often too many chefs in the kitchen, too many cooks in the kitchen. And I wouldn't be surprised if that's happening again.
Peer pressure.
Well, it's made so much money. I can't see them not doing more Halloween stuff.
Oh, it'll get done. It's just a matter of it'll get done as soon as some people want.
Do they plan on making any more movies? Or redoing another
No,
like
the whole point of the series is to lead into a movie.
Okay, I see.
I think there's some people that are hopeful that the series will go 2 seasons, 3 seasons, 4 seasons, but and it could. I'm not saying it won't, but from what I understand, it's one and done and onto a movie.
I heard Mike Flanagan say in on an article I was reading about he was really excited about what Fuller was going to do with Crystal Lake. Like he says that guy had some good ideas. He was really excited with what he was going to do with it.
I'm right there with him. Once again, studio executives got involved. Like, yeah, the budget had ballooned into something that was a bit much, but um, studio executives tend to ruin a lot, and they definitely killed what was Fuller's version of Crystal Lake. Whatever we end up getting is not what the original intent was.
Which I'm guessing Fuller wanted to do a little bit more backstory, and the producers didn't. Boobies. All right.
Gotta hope there's backstory to it.
Yeah, he had a lot of backstory. Like the whole first season wasn't going to include very much of Jason. It was going to be very Pamela centric, and then lead into some Jason stuff heading into season 2. And
See, to me,
they
that's
weren't a fan of it.
awesome. That's awesome. Like that's a character we need to see get fleshed out. I just don't. And I'm a huge Friday fan. Love Jason, but again, build up to Jason because I think it would be worth it.
I mean, they were going to do Pamela. I think they were supposed to tell more about her marriage to Elias, all that good stuff. It's just me.
Poor Bud.
Plop.
It had ballooned up to an $80 million thing, which is way too much for one season of TV. So, I'm not shocked it went that way, but Brian Fuller is also not the type of guy that you're going to, nitpick and hover over. And just look what he did with Hannibal. Like, I love that Hannibal TV series. It's fantastic. And to think that you're going to go micromanage a guy like that, it was never going to work.
No. I mean, I haven't seen Hannibal, but I mean, I know of Brian Fuller.
Oh man, you got to try Hannibal.
Man,
Mads
what they did with
Mikkelsen is brilliant in that.
what they did with Bates Motel was just amazing because I'm a huge Psycho fan too.
I like Psycho, but I was not the biggest fan of Bates Motel. That's just me. Hannibal's done it like a Bates Motel kind of reminds me of a CW-ish show at times, where Hannibal feels like something done by HBO. I don't know if Hannibal was done by HBO. I can't remember, but it's
NBC.
just top-notch shit.
There is so much TV out there that I can't even keep up.
Mm.
I'm very picky about what I watch. I'd rather rewatch something than invest time in something that I don't know if I'm going to like. So I need to be really sold on it. Jade and I just started watching this show called Nobody Wants This on Netflix, and it's not horror related or anything, but it's been decent.
Yes. I have to talk to you.
Oh, it's Marion.
What are you doing here?
My wife burns through a lot of shows because she works from home. She kind of multitasks, and I'm more of the movie guy. She's more of the TV person.
Person you are with young. Dr. Things all over the state. Patient kids once murders 3 teenagers. You shouldn't have forgot he escapes again.
I want you to listen to me earlier.
No, I'm sorry. Dr. Rogers has just afraid this would jeopardize the whole rehabilitation program. He doesn't want any
Dr. Rogers.
anywhere near. We found
I believe that's the dickhead at the beginning of Halloween 4.
Tell him you couldn't find me. Tell him anything. Can't leave that without me.
I'm afraid you don't have a choice. There's a marshal waiting for you outside.
He's walking pretty good for being shot 6 times.
Yeah.
Entertainment Wizard said that's Dr. Hoffman. At
Was it
4.
Hoffman?
At 4, that's the beginning of 4.
Rogers comes up in something else. I don't know if it's a literature or what, or if it's one of the Taking Shape scripts.
Great shot.
Rogers would have been in Returns, yeah. Is Rogers the one with Hunt?
Yeah. Now that I think of it.
Gets the knife through the tongue, I believe, at the end.
Emergency. Forest Road.
Just watching the fish tank.
Mm.
And then we get that moment with the fish tank and Halloween Kills as well. Halloween show centered around John Strode, like Family Matters, but with that asshole. Yeah, he's a piece of shit. Sean, you go to any horror conventions? I used to go to Fan Expo up here in Canada in Toronto, which usually has a big horror presence, but not in a while. I'm very much still in recovery mode from the heart attack in May, and I have good days and I have bad days, and some days are really bad to where it feels like I'm not functioning, and then other days are good where I feel normal again. But you never know what it's going to be until you get to that day. So conventions aren't something I'll be considering for a while. Mike had to go. He's got work in the morning. He was passing out. Appreciate Bish coming out, showing the commitment he did, doing it from a hotel room to boot. So we'll have Mike back for H4 on a non-double feature night as the three of us wrap up H2 here. I don't think
They're
there's
long,
long
man.
to go in the movie at this point.
They're long. I did the original Terminator and T2 back to back
Oh, geez, dude.
on a
Ooh.
Saturday night, mind you. So I didn't have to work, but they can be long.
I don't sleep well as it is. I mean, I didn't sleep well before the heart attack, but I really don't sleep well after it. So I'm not really dreading the fact that we're going late and not going to get a ton of sleep, but
Yeah,
it is what it is.
Yeah, because some dude likes messaging me at 3 o'clock in the morning. Are you up?
You shouldn't be active. It shows you active. Half the time you are. Half the time you're watching something.
Yeah. I'm like in bed and laying there and Halloween's on, Friday 13th's on, or something's on AMC or IFC, and I'm watching it.
I had these younger guys invite me onto their channel, and they go for a while because they do movie tournaments. So they have me on for a martial arts one, and every now and then he'll text me, "Oh, did you come on short notice?" I go, "No, I'm too old. I'm sorry, I just can't go. You guys are young. You can do all that. You got to give me a lot more prep than that."
I need 1 week's notice.
I got kind of a long one next week. I'm going to be doing What Lies Beneath. Since that's the 2-hour and 10-minute movie. So
Harrison Ford.
That's a
Yeah.
great movie.
It's a great movie. I love it. But it's 2 hours and 10 minutes. So I'm starting that one at 8:30.
One of my favorite watch parties I've done is when you had me on for Crossroads. That was that's such a great movie. Matt here prefers the Britney Spears version.
I'm kind of the guy who I'm kind of the guy who watches things that nobody else watches for watch parties.
Yeah, the Britney Spears version.
One of the things we're going to be doing with the relaunch of Fandom Empire is we're going to watch some movies that aren't Halloween as well. Going to get into other horror franchises, but we're also going to do some Star Wars watch parties, which we've never done before. So, looking forward to that.
Good. I did Psycho. I did The Thing. I'm doing What Lies Beneath. I'll be doing Creep Show just before Halloween.
The original one?
Yes. Yeah, number 1. I wanted to throw a few in for October. So.
Yeah, I forgot how stupid Creepshow 2 was. I saw that too long ago.
I don't mind it. Like I like the oil slick one.
That's about the only one.
But I like the original Creep Show. Other than the bug episode, I think that one's just kind of filler. It's a little filler, that one. I guess if you got a fear of bugs, you get really scared of it or creeped out by it, but didn't do much for me. But the Ted Danson one,
Leslie Nielsen.
Yeah, there's something to tide me over. Love that one.
Mm-hmm. Grandpa. Is it grandpa or uncle? The uncle. That all the family Ed Harris was in it. That's
Father's Day. That was
that was a good one.
Yeah, it's a good one.
I'd been like, get your hands off me. He put his hands there. I didn't need no escort to the car.
Turn this fucking car around.
What do y'all guys do first? Set off a warning shot.
Well, I guess you had to put the brother-sister angle in. What else were you going to do, really?
No, I mean, Carpenter said he was drunk when he wrote it.
And you wonder why Rosenthal had problems.
Carpenter would have been knee-deep into The Thing by the time this come out.
There was something I remember Erwin E. Blank saying something about it where he wanted to go on to The Thing or something like that, but he came back and said they wanted him to direct Halloween 2. He said, well, I won't direct it, but I'll write it. And I think there was something with I don't know, his contractor. I know there was something that said Carpenter was not going to direct 2, but he would write it. So I guess he was drunk when he wrote it. But you would have thought Deborah Hill would have been like the voice of reason between the two.
Yeah.
Oh, let's not forget that Deborah Hill's the one that really pushed for oh my god, what's the guy's name? I gotta search this up again. I think Dominique. Yes, Dominique Ossinin Gerard, the director of Halloween 5 that butchered that movie. That was a Deborah Hill apprentice that she really pushed for to do that movie.
Oh, that's your favorite one anyway.
Not a chance. Oh, Jimmy. You dumb son of a bitch.
Yeah, one of my first memories of him is The Last Starfighter.
Yeah. For me, it is because my dad used to watch it all the time.
How old are you?
I'm 45.
Okay, so you're a couple years younger than me.
IMDb is very, very wrong on that. Dominique had nothing to do with Halloween Kills. Thank God. You got to be careful with websites like IMDb and
Mm-hmm.
Wikipedia. Those
What?
places can be edited by people that really
Whenever
have no
I
function at all.
whenever I do a watch party, I like to look up trivia.
Mm-hmm.
So there's one called Mental Floss, I think it's called. They're pretty good for their say like I don't know facts about this movie. That way, I have talking points or whatever, right? But your director's commentaries, they're the best. If you
Mm-hmm.
have time to sit and watch one of those and grab some information off them.
No, that part of the movie you can blame Jamie Lee Curtis for.
What?
Evil dies tonight.
Yeah, she was a big.
Mm-hmm.
She was. Yeah, that was. You wanted something to say.
Definitely wasn't Anthony Michael Hall.
Well, how out of it she is.
Mm.
That's a good kill.
Oh. Doo-doo. This is where he kind of looks stiff walking
Yeah.
versus when he was by the house.
Yeah, it's only that he's been walking just like Nick Castle really right up to this
Mhm.
point. So the criticisms, I think, is just this scene here, like, or maybe the third act. I think he's doing a good job.
Yeah, I never said. I mean, I've always like overall I liked his walk, but I think it just like completely changes. It always feels like he's stiffer as he got to the hospital versus before he got to the hospital, he was more fluid.
It's almost like when he's holding the scalpel out like that, it almost lends itself to more stiffness. You know what I mean? Because he's
Right.
not really moving. He's just.
The scalpel's doing the walking.
If I was to rank all the Michaels, though, I'd have Dick Warlock probably pretty high.
I would too. I liked James Hugh Courtney's walk.
Yeah, did a good job. The guy who did the flashback, I forget his name.
Aaron
Um,
Armstrong.
yeah.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, he did a really good job.
Oh
as Mike.
yeah.
I mean, that could have been a disaster. The flashback.
Mm-hmm.
If you if David Gordon Green was off the ball and you didn't have the right people in place to play Michael, and that could have been a disaster.
He knew his trilogy would be judged very highly on that one scene.
That's the thing that he did really right in that movie was the flashback. I wish the whole movie was the flashback, like it was an extension of this movie. Reimagining, I guess, of this movie.
You know what would have been funny is if they had done the flashback and then have instead of what's his name, Frank, going back to his memory, go forward with it. And like he wakes up, he out when he's out, he's dreaming about back then.
Yeah.
And then he wakes up to what's his name on top of him. And then go from there. That would have been cool if they had done it that way.
I was really excited about Anthony Michael Hall playing Tommy. But it was just some of the decisions that the character was making. But I think it will grow on me. I've only watched it a couple times, so
I liked it other than the evil dies tonight scene.
Yeah.
I think he was great for it, except for that one set of dialogue.
I think that if the trilogy would have been structured differently, I thought Tommy could have been, that scared child who grew up, and let's say he was pretty timid still, and he ends up being the one saving Laurie this time, and and I think that would have been a good character arc for him. But they didn't go that route.
Killed him. Try to kill Karen.
Yeah, I definitely did rewatch that one. I need to rewatch on that one.
Tombstone Fields, didn't matter in Haddonfield. Killed one sister 15 years ago, now he's trying to kill the other. Tonight, after I shot him, where did it take her? Where, do you know this area well? Where's the hospital located?
Dr. Loomis, we're under orders from the governor.
It's back around 17, like 3 miles. Turn this car around now. I got orders. Those orders have changed.
Dr. Loomis.
Stop getting yourself into a lot of trouble. What do you fellas usually do? Fire one shot, right?
That's funny.
We're gonna get out of here.
Jimmy's kind of useless.
Understatement.
You to the wheel, but I do the thing that I want you to make. Can I touch? What have I got to lose? Accept my job.
Ah, that wig.
Check all the roads down there. Go on. You stay with me and shut up.
Loomis, he's a badass.
So that's 11 shots.
I was counting. I was going to say, I've shot him 11 times.
He does not die easy.
Still breathing.
Get your ass over here.
Take that 357. Clunk.
Way he stabs Loomis there. It's pretty...
It's a flesh wound. You know, for somebody who probably never shot a gun before, she hits him in the eye twice.
He's a hell of a shot.
He's been shot 13 times. I didn't know Stevie Wonder was in this movie.
Let's try fire.
Yeah. One thought process: if you want to go with the continuation of this storyline going into 4, where the fuck did Loomis get shot to?
Yeah, right? The firewalk.
Yeah. And Sean, real quick, that was Dick Warlock in that fire suit, right?
I believe so, but
Yeah.
I don't want to say for sure.
Yeah, I think it was.
Yeah, I think it was too.
Maybe more.
I like the fog and everything.
Mm-hmm.
And shot here.
Nice wig.
Mr. Sandman.
Mm-hmm. Yes. No.
And there you have it. 1982's
81.
1981's Halloween 2. Written by Mr. John Carpenter and Deborah Hill, technically. Directed by Rick Rosenthal, starring Donald Pleasance, Jamie Lee Curtis. I hadn't seen that movie in years, so that was enjoyable. Wish it wasn't so late, but that was enjoyable. Big thanks to everybody who came out. I want to thank again Kieran, who was here for the H1 portion of the show. Mr. Mike Bish from Take One podcast and a guest host going forward at the newly relaunched Fandom Empire. He was here for most of 2 and all of 1. Big thank you to Mr. Matt Whitfield, channel mod, guest host on Fandom Empire Live, channel sponsor, all around good guy,
Try to be.
Karen obsessed. Big thanks for doing this tonight, man.
Ain't no problem, buddy.
And a big thank you to Mr. Jason Knight, Backtrack Cinema. Definitely check out all of his YouTube content over there on Backtrack Cinema. A guy gives it his all, and one of the, I don't want to say few, but one of the real content creators who's a good person and a good content creator. Really thanks. I really appreciated that you were able to come and do these 2 movies tonight, man.
Yeah, anytime. I'm glad we were able to get together and do this. And yeah, it's thanks for the kind words.
Looking forward to Fandom Empire Live officially relaunching next Tuesday, 8:30 p.m. Eastern. I'm sure there'll be all sorts of shenanigans in store for all of you that night. Big thanks to our patrons who, really pay to support us and the content that we're doing, and our channel sponsors like Mr. Matt Whitfield, Mr. Jason Nike, Jesse from Jesse Storytime Spectacular, who's in the chat, Brian from Colleague Nation. Without those guys, we simply can't do what we're doing, and it's really appreciated. So, for Matt and Jason and Mike and Kieran, who are no longer here, I am Sean, and we will see you next time when the Empire calls.